Hello everyone, this video is in the continuation of the previous video of chapter Socialism in Europe and Russian Revolution. So in the previous video we discussed about the liberals, radicals and conservatives. Now we are going further. So let's study. Today we will study from this 1.3 coming of socialism in Europe. So perhaps one of the most far-reaching vision of how society should be structured was socialism. Actually the people were suffering as they were inspired from the French Revolution. So they also wanted to do away with the present system of society. So what they wanted? They wanted to apply socialism in the society. Okay, they wanted society should be structured. Society should be structured according to socialism. Now, what is socialism? Here, for the mid 19th century Europe, socialism was well-known body of ideas that attracted widespread attention. Socialism is a very important theory actually, which believes in the state-owned property. Okay, it believes that all the property, all the land, all the factories, all the land should be owned by government or the nation. It means private property should be abolished. Okay, private property should be allowed to a certain limit. Okay, so this was the idea of socialism. And they always raise the voice of the poor and workers. Okay, this is the basic idea of socialism. Socialists were against private property. They were against private property and saw it as the root of all social ills of the time. They thought that socialism is a good philosophy, and they thought that private property is the root of every problem. Why? Individual owned property that gave employment, but propertied were concerned only with the personal gains, not with the personal gains. What they think? They think that socialists, the people who believe in socialism, they think that individual owned property, if a person have property, he may give employment to the people, but that person who property means the owner of property, he will be always concerned only with his personal gain, his personal profit. Okay, but not with the welfare of those who made the property productive. Understand? Yes, the property holder person will be always worried about his profit, but not with the welfare of those. It means those labor, those workers who made the property productive. Okay, then so if the society as a whole rather than a single individual controlled property, more attention would be paid to the collective social interest. They said if the property will be controlled by the government, okay, then the attention will be paid to the social interest, collective social interest. Socialists wanted this change and campaigned for it. So this was the idea of. Then how could a society without property operate? Now how this will happen? What would be the basis of a socialist society? Then socialists had different visions of future. Some believed in the idea of cooperatives. Cooperatives means some people they make a group and they work together, and the profit will be shared among them. That is the idea of cooperatives. Robert Owen of 1771 to 1851, he was the lifespan of, it is the lifespan of Robert Owen, a leading English manufacturer, sought to build a cooperative community called New Harmony in Indiana. Indiana is the state of USA of America. So what? He built a cooperative community in US. Okay, in during this time. Okay, then other socialists felt that cooperatives could not be built on a wide scale only through a individual initiative. Some people were saying that it is not a easy task, it will be difficult. It will be difficult when one person cannot initiate this huge program of cooperatives. Okay, they demanded that governments encourage cooperatives. In France, for instance, Louis Blanc, 1813 to 1882 lifespan, wanted the government to encourage cooperatives in France, okay, in France, and replace capitalist enterprises. Capitalist means what? Capitalist is an idea in which they encourage private property, okay, and they encourage the free market economy in capitalist. Okay, what is free market economy? Free market economy is that government should have no role in determining the price of the commodities. It means let it be done by the demand and supply. This may be difficult for you to understand because it is the concept of a little bit higher classes, capitalist, okay, and communist. But for instance, capitalist economy is that in which government does not control the economic affairs of the state. Okay, market, like wages is defined. Wages is defined by the private factory owners, not by the government. It means the factory owners, the big businessmen, they want government to be out, to stay away from their economic affairs. This was the capitalist economy. Okay, these cooperatives were to be associations of people who produced goods together, see, and divide the profits according to the work done by the members. Again we see this. What is cooperatives? Cooperatives were associations of people who produced goods together, okay, and divide the profits according to the work done by members. Suppose in an agricultural field, many person they joined their fields, okay, and they share the techniques. Suppose tractors, they are sharing fertilizers, they are sharing seeds, all the inputs they are sharing, and they are commonly cultivating the huge piece of land, okay, and then their profit will be increased. Because when we increase the size of the land, when we increase the production on a big land, then certainly more production happens. So when production will be happen, they will divide the profit according to the work or their resources. So this was the idea of cooperatives. Okay, now Karl Marx. Now remember the name of this person, Karl Marx. History after the Karl Marx always revolve around Karl Marx. Okay, and you know, at present situation, this man Karl Marx is very relevant in present times. Okay, it is very important person of history. So, and Frederick Engels, this these two persons added other ideas to this body of arguments. Which body? Socialism. Marx argued that industrial society was capitalist. Okay, capitalist industrial society, it means where industries are it means where the industry is governed by the industrialists. Then there the society was capitalist. Capitalist owned the capital invested in factories. Capitalist owned the capital invested in the factories. It means whatever the money they had put in the industries, they are the master of that property. And profit of capitalist were produced by the workers. Actually, worker is doing the work now in the factory. Worker is doing the work, but profit is taken by whom? Factory owner, and he is giving the wages to the workers. The condition of workers could not improve as long as the profit was accumulated by private capitalist. Conditions of worker means their houses, okay, their wages, their education, their health, and their family, everything of the conditions of worker, their working hours, how many hours they are working in a factory, could not improve as long as the profit was accumulated by the private capitalist. Private matlab master of a factory owner. Workers had to overthrow capitalism. They had to end capitalism, overthrow, okay, end capitalism and rule of private property, both things. What workers have to do? Workers have to, who said these things? Remember, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels said that workers had to overthrow capitalism and rule of private property. Then Marx believed that to free themselves from capitalist exploitation, Marx believed that to free the workers, to free themselves, okay, from capitalist oppression, capitalist exploitation, workers had to construct a radically socialist society. I have told you, radical people were the people who want immediate change, okay, immediate change. They were very, very energetic kind of organization, radical organizations, okay. Radical socialist society. Socialist society means socialist, okay, the word, where all property was socially controlled, where property was not of individual but of social control, state property, government property. This would be a communist society. This would be a communist society. The word communist is derived from community, okay, community. So it means here community society, okay, communist society. He was convinced that workers would trump in their conflict with capitalists. It means workers can play a major important role. Workers can play the role while fighting with the capitalist, okay. Workers are important. Then a communist society was natural society for the future. He said that communist society will be the natural society. In future you will see it will be a natural society. Now, support of socialism. By the 1870s, socialist ideas spread through Europe. By the 1870s, to coordinate their efforts, socialists formed an international body in 1870s, by the 1870s, okay, namely Second International, okay. This was a communist body of the Europe, communist body, international body. It was not in one nation but in many countries, so it is an international body. For workers in England and Germany, remember, England and Germany began forming associations, means group. They are forming a union, they are forming groups to fight for better living and working conditions. Workers were fighting, workers were making associations for what they wanted. They wanted better living, their houses, better education, better health, okay, and working conditions. Their working hours was very, very high, or they have to work more, but they wanted that working hours should be fixed, okay, and should be according to the human body, okay. They set up funds to help members in times of distress and demanded a reduction of working hours and right to vote. What they wanted? They wanted the working hour reduction in working hours. They wanted reduction in working hours, okay, and what else? And right to vote. And some of them have fund some of they set up funds to help members times of distress and demanded reduction. So they have contributed some money to help their fellow workers who are in problem. They used to help the fellow workers with some contribution. Okay. Then in Germany, these associations worked closely with Social Democratic Party. In Germany, these associations were working with this party. There was a party in Germany. All the associations of socialist associations, they were working with this party. Okay? And helped it win parliamentary seats. So now these associations, these worker associations, they were supporting one party. So the party is winning some seats in the parliamentary elections. Now then by 1905, socialist and trade unionists formed a Labour Party in Britain. Remember, Labour Party in Britain, okay, and Socialist Party in France. Okay, so these trade unions by 1905. Then, however, till 1914, socialists never succeeded in forming a government in Europe represented by strong figures in parliamentary politics. They have legislation. It means what? By 1914, socialist people were not able to form government. They did not form government anywhere, but actually they had more seats. They had more seats in the parliament, so they could be able to make some laws passed in the favor of workers. They could be able to pass some laws with their seats. Now, represented by strong, okay, that is done now, but government continued to be run by conservative liberals. Government continued to be run by conservatives, liberals and radicals. Now this is a figure of this is the painting of Paris Commune of 1871. Okay, popular uprising on Paris between March and 1871. This was period when Council of Paris was taken over by the people government. Okay, this was a picture of revolt. Now come to the second part of this, Russian Revolution. In one of the least industrialized of European states, this situation was reversed. Socialists took over government in Russia through the October Revolution of 1917. So what happened in Europe? Socialists took over the government in Russia and through the October Revolution of 1917. The fall of monarchy in February 1917 and events of October are normally called Russian Revolution. So two things happened in Russia. Okay, first thing what? First of all, you see the picture. This is a king, monarch of the Russia. Name was Tsar Nicholas II in the White Hall of Winter Palace, St. Petersburg, 1900, painted by Ernest Liebgut. So he was the monarch of the Russia. Okay. Then what happened in the Russia? Two events happened. First event was February Revolution in 1917, which fall of monarchy. It means which led to the fall of monarchy, end of monarchy in February Revolution. February it's 1917 it happened, and one is October Revolution in 1917. So which kya hai, in which socialists took over government in October Revolution. So these things we study. How did this come about? What were the social and political conditions in Russia when the revolution occurred? To answer these questions, let us look at Russia a few years before revolution. Now we will study Russia before this time of 1917. Okay, how this February Revolution, how this October Revolution happened. So Russian Empire in 1914. Russian Empire, see the word empire, it means many territories are there in one empire. In 1914, Tsar Nicholas II ruled Russia. He was a monarch and its empire. Besides the territory around Moscow, Moscow is the capital of Russia at present time. Okay, the Russia empire included current day Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, part of Poland, Ukraine, Belarus. These all were the neighboring areas of the Russia in Europe and Asia. Okay, then it stretched to the Pacific and comprised today's Central Asian states as well as Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan. If you will see the map, the Pacific part of Russia is the part which lies in Pacific Ocean, near Pacific Ocean. Okay, Bering Strait. Okay, when you see the map, you will know. The majority religion was Russian Orthodox Christianity, which had grown out of the Greek Orthodox Church. But the empire also included Catholics, Protestant, Muslims, and Buddhists. So there many people were there, all type of religions were there, but the majority was Russian Orthodox Christianity. So this is the map. See here, this is the map of Europe in 1914 when First World War happened. Okay, when First World War happened. So this is the Russian Empire. Russian Empire also, this is for the European part. Here, if you see, this is the Asian part, and this is like you can see here now. See, this is the what of First World War. Central powers, entity or allied powers, neutral states that later joined central powers, and neutral states that later joined entity powers. Now come to the economy and society. At the beginning of the 20th century, the vast majority of Russia's people were agriculturists. About 85% of Russian Empire's population earned their living from agriculture. This proportion was higher than in most European countries. For instance, France, Germany, and proportion was between 40% and 50%. You can see that 85% people of Russia was agriculturists, okay, peasants. But in France, how many? 40%. In Germany, how many? 50%. It means in Russia, the most people were peasants. Okay. Then, in the empire, cultivators produced for market as well as for their own needs, and Russia was a major exporter of grain. Now, so that's why many people were engaged in the agriculture. That's why the Russia was a major exporter of grains. Industries was found in pockets. It means somewhere industries were found. So industries was not a common thing. Somewhere outside the city. Okay. Prominent industrial areas were St. Petersburg, Moscow. Craftsmen undertook much of the production, but large factories existed alongside craft workshops. It means most of the production was with the manual workshop, okay, craftsmen, but factories were also there. Many factories were set up in the 1890s when Russia's railway network extended. Foreign investment in industry increased, okay, and what happened then? Coal production doubled, and iron and steel output quadrupled 4 times. By the 1900, in some areas, factory workers and craftsmen were almost equal in number. In 1900, what happened? Then the workers and craftsmen were almost equal in numbers. Okay. Then next, most industry was the private property of industrialists. Government supervised large factories to ensure minimum wages, limited hours of work. It means government was supervising the factories, large factories, for the minimum wages and working hours. Okay, but factory inspectors were those government officials who look after that in any factory, is there any breach, is there any violation of the law, law regarding the working hours or wages of the worker. But the factory inspector could not prevent rules being broken. But you can see that inspector cannot do much about these things. In craft units, small workshops, working days was sometime 15 hours. Oh, it means they have to work for 15 hours in a day. This is very problematic situation compared with the 10-12 hours in factories. So it means in the small workshops they have to work for 15 hours, while in factories 10 to 12 hours. Accommodation varied from rooms to dormitories. They have to live in a very poor rooms and dormitories where many workers have to live in a small area. You can see here, this is a workers sleeping bunkers in a dormitory pre-revolutionary Russia. They slept in shifts and could not keep their families with them. So this was a very problematic situation in the Russia. So now this was for this video. Now for the next video we will see in the next. Okay, thank you.